Hey guys, it's Kevin on the Murphy guys. We're reviewing this a movie that I really did not know how it was going to go, but it is the latest Netflix film, Six Balloons. And what Six Balloons is essentially about is we center on the character of Katie, and she is someone who has a really great life. She's got this really supportive boyfriend and a very good family, but she ends up running into her brother, who she hasn't seen in quite a long time, and, this is someone who is kind of the black sheep of the family, and not only that, but she realizes that he is actually using again. He is a former heroin addict, and he clearly is using it again. So, in an effort to stop him, she does whatever she can to hopefully turn things around, drive him to the detox center, and basically the rest of the film is, what does she really do here? Does she try to save her brother, or does she finally force him to get the help that he deserves? And Six Balloons in general, once again, it's a Netflix movie. I don't have much hope in them nowadays, but I will say, since the utter shittiness that was Game Over Man, and just, you guys know how much I hated that movie. I mean, that is one of the most ill-conceived, just unnecessarily ribald and raunchy and overly violent comedies I've seen in a very long time. And since that movie, Netflix movies haven't actually been that bad. Now, that could just be because Game Over Man, was a new low for this, particular distributor, but I think since then they have actually been improving. I really enjoyed First Match. There's another movie I've seen from them I haven't reviewed for you guys yet, but I really enjoyed that one. And the other movies I've seen from them have ranged from just being, good to okay. So, Six Balloons I did have some hope for, and I'm happy to say that this is easily the best Netflix movie I have seen in a very long time. Six Balloons is a very well done film that covers a lot of very tough subject matter, but definitely does it in a very, in a very realistic way. And we're just getting into right now, starting off with the cast. And right off the bat, that is definitely one of the best things about this movie. I think, most of the cast here really did a pretty great job. But let's first talk about Abbi Jacobson as Katie, who perfectly carries this movie. Katie immediately is a character that we really do care about. She's someone who, she always has to do things on a certain schedule, but she's also very supportive towards her family. She's throwing this, birthday party for her boyfriend and things like that, and everything seems to be going well for her, but we see throughout the film that she kind of puts her entire life on hold for her brother. Everything that she was planning on doing, once she realizes her brother is using again, that comes second. And I really love that about her character, how even though she knows that she might not be able to help her brother and that there might not be saving him, just in good conscience, she cannot, steer him away. She has to stay close to him. She has to be protective. She has to support him in any way that she can. And I really love that about her character. She was really great here. She has some amazing scenes, especially towards the third act of this film. She really got amazing, and I think she did a fantastic job here. However, easily the standout of this movie is Dave Franco as the character of Seth, who, once again, Dave Franco is not someone I've ever seen as an amazing actor, but since The Disaster Artist, things are really looking up for him, and this is easily his strongest performance yet. I mean, the character of Seth, it is a very challenging role, because this is someone who, throughout the film, is incredibly addicted. I mean, he needs heroin pretty much every second of the day. There's rarely a moment in this film where he's not craving it. He physically needs it in his life, but he's also trying to be supportive towards his daughter, and you can see that he really does want to turn his life around, but he just can't, and he doesn't want to get the detox because it's just too much work, and Franco just portrays this perfectly. I was very impressed with what he does in this movie. He has some very challenging material, but he does an incredible job here. Him and Jacobson have some of the most well-realized chemistry I have seen all year, and I think definitely this has put Dave Franco on a new pedestal, actually. I think moving forward, he's going to get a lot of incredible roles, and definitely this was a game-changing performance for him, for sure. And then everyone else in the film I thought also was really good. The little girl in the movie, who plays his 2-year-old daughter, Charlotte Carel and Madeline Carel, it's not like they were amazing or anything, but I did think they did a pretty good job in the film. They do what they need to do. Dawan Owens I thought was also really good here as Katie's boyfriend Jack. You can see that he really wants to help her, and he really doesn't want her to be in this situation, and he personally kind of wants to do something about this whole situation, but again, Katie just insists that she do it on her own. Jane Kaczmarek in this movie, I thought was amazing. I mean, she really wants nothing to do with Seth. She wants him out of their life. She doesn't trust the fact that he is going to turn his life around at all, and I thought she did an incredible job in this movie. Really, everyone did a really great job here. There wasn't really a performance that I thought was bad, and I thought everyone was really great. But now let's get to the directing and the writing, because that tends to be the problem with these Netflix films. They have these really great casts, and they have people who are very talented, but they don't know what to do with them. And I'm happy to say that is not the case here. Marja-Lewis Ryan did a fantastic job helming this movie. Right off the bat, the tone of this movie, it's very bleak, and it's very realistic. There isn't a lot of hope in this film, but you are hoping things are going to get better. You are, rooting for Katie to get Seth that help. You're rooting for him to turn his life around, but you just don't know if, they're going to be able to do that. This is kind of an insurmountable situation, but Katie doesn't want to believe that. Katie wants to believe that she has a duty to help him, and I thought that was very well directed. It's very hard to watch at points, but I liked how much Ryan didn't try to shy away from the bleak, harsh realities of this narrative. It reminded me a lot of times of Requiem for a Dream. Now, admittedly, this isn't nearly as hard to watch as that film. That is easily one of the most graphic, or maybe the most graphic depiction of someone who is addicted I think you'll ever watch. But similar to that film, this really does get very in-depth, and it goes very deep when it comes to addiction, what this can do to you, how this messes with your mind, and how it changes your whole sense of self. And I really loved that as a directing. I thought it was definitely very well done, and I really did enjoy it overall. But now let's get to the writing, because I thought the writing as well was very well fleshed out here. The movie really does take its time. It spends about a solid 20 or so minutes to flesh us out, to flesh out Katie's life. And those opening 20 minutes, they are a little bit slow, I'm not going to lie. It did take me a little while to get invested into it overall. But once Seth comes into the story, that's really when this gets great, because you see the relationship that these two really do have. And it's a complicated one for sure. I mean, Katie wants Seth to be in her life, and she wants things to be good for the two of them. Unfortunately, she's kind of living in this fantasy world, and things aren't necessarily going the way that she wants them to, but she really wants them to have that relationship. She wants them to have that bond, and I thought it was a very well done story in that way. I really did get sucked in when it came to the story. The way they introduced Seth as well, again, it's very unapologetic. You see, he lives in this house that's just like riddled with like newspapers and garbage and all this stuff. I mean, you can tell this is not someone who takes very good care of themselves, but at the same time, that is what a heroin addict would do, because to him, the most important thing, he does try to care for his daughter, and you really do want to believe that Seth is a good father figure, but there are a lot of points in this movie where Seth will try to care for his daughter, and it's genuinely very harrowing, because you know for a fact that this is not someone who should be, in any sort of, little kid's life, let alone his daughter, and you can tell he cannot provide for her in the way he wants to, and there are a lot of very hard scenes to watch with that, but again, the movie really didn't shy away from that, and I was definitely very impressed with that overall. However, this movie is still not perfect. I think, like I said, the main story is very well done. When you get down to their whole relationship, it's very interesting. However, there is a whole other side of the movie that just didn't really work for me, and it involves these audiobooks that Katie frequently listens to throughout the film, and immediately when this started, I really did not like this because it felt less like the movie was trying to add this deeper layer and more like the movie was just trying to spell things out for you. And I thought it was incredibly unnecessary. Like, the whole audiobook, it's trying to compare her whole situation to someone being on this boat that's like constantly drowning, and they're trying to do what they can to get the help and, you know, save everyone, but they just kind of have to face reality. And in general, it just felt very on the nose. And the problem is, a lot of this movie is very much dedicated to this device, and it just felt less like it was actually needed in the film and more just simply like them spelling things out for you. And I don't think they needed to do that. It felt like the film was trying to be subtle at points, and then it really wasn't. And thankfully, this isn't something that is that important, but it is in the sense where they use it a lot. And, you know, luckily the story was strong enough for this not to be a huge issue, but anytime this came up, it did take me out of the film quite a lot, and I wish they would have kind of dialed that down a bit. They could have done it a few times in the movie, but they do it a lot, and I really did not find it to be that necessary. Also, besides Katie, Seth, and the little girl, the other characters here, I definitely cared about them, but just not in the way I did with those two characters. They're not as well fleshed out. They don't really have a ton to do in the movie, and when I think about this movie, I'm not going to think about the side characters. I'm going to think about Katie, I'm going to think about Seth, but I'm not really going to think about those side characters, as I said. Also, there is a really weird portion of this movie, and it's just a fraction of it, where the whole movie has this very bleak sort of tone, but there's this one scene at a convenience store, and the movie suddenly becomes really wacky and goofy, and I don't know why they went in this direction. The way it's played, it should be really you know, it should be really bleak. What's going on? I mean, the situation, it's not a laughing matter at all, but in this scene, it is played for laughs. And at first, I kind of understood it. You know, not the whole situation is going to be sad. There are going to be some light moments in there, but it just felt very out of place, and it really did take me off guard, and it was quite jarring at points, and I don't really think that it needed to be there. But the story in general, again, like I said, it's very well handled, and the way it does end was perfect. I thought the ending to this movie was perfect. The cinematography as well, this is some of the best I've seen from any Netflix film, and that is in regards to the whole audiobook thing. As much as I don't like it, the cinematography in those sequences are beautiful, and they're very well constructed. Also, I did feel this one of the best things about this movie is how well paced it is. This is easily one of the shortest Netflix movies I've seen. It's only about 70 minutes, and it's very well paced in that way. The movie really never feels too long or too short. Like I said, the first like 10 or to 15 minutes I did think was just a little bit slow, but it wasn't boring necessarily. It just took me a little while to get into it. Overall, guys, Six Balloons is easily one of Netflix's best films in a while. I really did enjoy this movie. It's got two really great performers, both Abbi Jacobson and Dave Franco. It does have some stuff that I do think could have kind of been removed. It has some really great cinematography, and in general, it does show that Netflix can still put out a hit every once in a while. Like I said, I do think this is one of their better films, and I am going to give Six Balloons overall an A-. Once again, I said this in my first match review, and I'll say it again. This is why I pick on Netflix. This is really why I do, because I know what they're capable of. I know that they can put out great films. It just seems like they say yes to everything. This is what you need to be doing. Stick to projects like this. This is the kind of stuff that people will respect you more. You know, you can become like Amazon. You can be in the same, you know, sort of, high standard that studio is. You know, you can be there. It's just clear to me that Netflix just does not know how to say the word no, and it's frustrating because they make great films like this, and then they make things like Game Over, man. They don't even feel like they come from the same distributor, honestly. They really don't. But either way, guys, it's in my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought more overall. Let your thoughts, and we'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.